Hello, my name is Hakon, and welcome back, all you fabulous fighting fantasy aficionados, for another fun day of fighting fantasies as we play Island of the Lizard King. I just finished playing Death Trap Dungeon. I had to cheat like crazy to get through because that is really difficult. I have heard this is supposed to be rather a bit easier, so I am hoping I'll be able to get through this without too much hassle and too much cheating. I don't like doing it if I don't have to. At some point it just becomes too tedious if I'm going to go through the same things over and over again just to see if I can manage to do it. So, which is why I did feel that it was a pragmatic decision to do it in Death Trap Dungeon. Quite a nice specimen of a book, this one. It has never been played, this one. It's got a nice clean spine. It has hardly been opened by the looks of it, and it does have some damage to the corners, but it's just been in someone's collection and been moved around a bit, rearranged on the bookshelf, put in the box, taken out of the box, that sort of thing. And I haven't played this before, so I'm looking forward to seeing what it's like. I know it's not everyone's favourite book, and people say it's a little bit simplistic and linear and things like that, but it might be refreshing after Death Trap Dungeon, I think. So now what happened, I am actually trying a new screen recorder software, so I'm actually recording both cameras in the same software now, just to see how that works, because if that works I can have a third camera later at some point. If that doesn't work, then 3 cameras is out of the question. So I'm just trying that, and when I started the first time it stopped working, or it didn't start recording, so I'm having to start over again now. So I've already rolled my character, and I didn't realize until I read the introduction, but I'll go through that again now. So just checking my sound is indeed rolling, yes. So without too much further ado, I will just get started. So here we are, Island of the Lizard King. And I've got my supplies ready here. I've got my book, my sketchbook that I use for my character sheets, as usual the improvised handwritten ones as we go along, and graph paper for my map, and that is pretty much it. I'm actually a bit closer with my camera today, a bit of a tighter shot. I think I actually prefer the look of that. I'll see how that goes now, because I used to do that when I started out, and one of the advantages is you can see the artwork a lot better in the books, for instance. So I'll just see how that goes. Also, I'm trying out the autofocus again, which I haven't done in a while, because if I move the book around a bit, it can still focus on it reasonably fast. So I'll see how that goes. Got my pens, got my dice, and I just have to make sure now that I always stay in shot. In fact, I'll move a little bit to the side now so I'm more centered on my camera angle here. Okay, right. So I've also got my cup of tea, which I've almost finished now because excuse me, because I'd already started playing, but I had to start over again. That's the end of the tea. Anyway, Earl Grey cold is also quite nice if you make it right. So, Island of the Lizard King, and I'll get started now. Ian Livingstone, of course, and illustrated by Alan Langford, and it looks like some really nice. I really like that one, actually. Let's see how the illustrations are. So, background. Right. Oyster Bay is a quiet fishing village some 60 miles down the coast from the notorious Port Blacksand. Because it is at the end of a long peninsula reached only by a steep and winding path, the fishermen and their wives are left to lead a simple but content life, away from the monsters and sorcery of the hinterland. Journeying south from Fang, so it's almost like it's a sequel to Death Trap Dungeon, because you just were in Fang doing the Trial of Champions, you decide that you could do with a few days' rest, and knowing of no more peaceful place than Oyster Bay, you urge your horse towards the coast. Besides, an old adventuring friend of yours called Mungo lives there now, and it has been years since you last saw him. 2 days later you arrive at the edge of the cliffs overlooking Oyster Bay. It is a beautiful sunny morning and everything looks tranquil below. Nothing seems to have changed. The cluster of stone cottages nestled between the foot of the cliffs and the jetty where a dozen fishing boats lie at anchor. You jump off your horse and walk it down the winding path to the village. The first people you see are a group of crying women. As you approach them, several men step out of the cottage and run towards you. One of the four is your old friend Mungo. His weather-beaten face is full of anger. He looks surprised to see you, but wastes no time with words of welcome. He recounts the sad events that have befallen the village. Having no gold or material wealth, the people of Oyster Bay thought themselves safe from raiders attacking their village. But several weeks ago, while most of the men were out at sea, the Lizardmen of Fire Island landed their boats in Oyster Bay and kidnapped several young men. Mungo believes that they are now enslaved on Fire Island and working in chain gangs in the gold mines. I'm a bit surprised that the young men were there, because they should be out fishing as well, shouldn't they? If they're old enough to fish, they're old enough to mine for gold, aren't they? Just saying. Since the kidnapping, 2 men were left to guard the village, while the rest went out to fish. Despite this, the Lizardmen attacked again this very morning, overpowering the guards and taking away more young men. Mungo tells you that he is about to set sail for Fire Island alone because the other fishermen are too scared to set foot on the island. He stares at you in silence until you smile and say that you will aid him in his quest. He slaps you on the back and shakes your hand in gratitude. For the moment, the poor fishing folk forget their grief and crowd round you, eager to thank you. Mungo then invites you to dine with him and rest a while, as the voyage to Fire Island will take several hours. Over a delicious feast of boiled lobster and salad you discuss your plans. Mungo tells you that he does not think that humans live on Fire Island any longer, well, apart from the slaves. But his knowledge is fairly limited. These are just rumours that pass between fishermen from other coastal villages. However, it is known that Fire Island used to be a prison colony, guarded by a tribe of... That's a really weird use of a semicolon there. Anyway, guarded by a tribe of paid lizard men. This was a rather futile attempt by Prince Olaf to rid his land of undesirable characters. The good prince soon learned that it would have been simpler to put his lawful citizens on Fire Island and leave the evildoers on the mainland. There were just too many of them. He gave up his attempt and abandoned the prison colony. When the Lizardmen received no pay, they took their vengeance out on the prisoners, and the island became a place of terror, ruled by a Lizardman prison guard who proclaimed himself king. The prisoners were forced to dig mines in the hope of finding gold for the Lizard King. They were underfed and ill-treated, and many died. That is presumably why the Lizard King is sending out his men to find new slaves. It is known that in order to assert his authority, the Lizard King began practicing voodoo and black magic. He also started genetic experiments in an attempt to breed an invincible race of lizardmen. Most of the experiments went wrong. Grotesque mutants were created, and some of the harmful potions found their way into the water drains with terrible consequences. The local flora and fauna were affected, with the result that man-eating plants developed and giant beasts evolved. A few of the prisoners managed to escape the island on rafts and were picked up by fishermen, but what has happened in the last few years nobody knows. Fire Island had almost been forgotten until the recent raids. Success in your quest to assassinate the Lizard King and rescue the kidnapped victims is doubtful, but you must try. You stand up and walk down to the jetty with Mungo stepping aboard his small fishing boat. And the sight of cheering villagers, you untie the boat and push out to the sea, wondering if you will ever return. There we are. Now turn over. I think I'll just get my water ready because I often get thirsty from all this talking. Mungo's years with the fishermen of Oyster Bay have made him a skillful boatman. He swiftly hoists the sail of the small boat and sets a course due west across the silvery blue sea. The land soon recedes into the distance, and you sit back on the... Well, actually, before I do this, I'll just go through my character very quickly. So I rolled up the character when I started trying to record the previous time, when it stopped working. And I rolled a skill of 9, 17 stamina and 10 luck. So not a great character, but I don't know how good it needs to be to actually get through this alive. And I've got 10 provisions and a potion of stamina as usual. Let's see how that goes. Very often when I play a few times, I realize that there's no way you can get through with the kind of stats. I mean, a 9 skill in Death Trap Dungeon, your chances of winning probably less than 1%. So even if you know exactly what you're doing and where you're going, you are way less than 1% chance of winning. So I don't know how it is in this book. We'll find out. Right. The land soon recedes into the distance and you sit back on the deck, relaxing in the afternoon sunshine. From the stern you hear merry whistling, the creak of the rudder, and Mungo occasionally calling out to a seabird passing overhead. You think about the good times you used to have with Mungo, his constant cheerful nature and willingness to help people in need. You find it difficult to believe that so much evil exists in the land when there lives the likes of Mungo. As the hours drift by, you talk and laugh, trying to ignore the dangers ahead. Mungo is always one to tell a tale, and he is now telling you about his father and how he used to work in the travelling circus. He was a big man, big as a mountain, laughs Mungo, and he would do just about anything for a paying crowd. Wrestle trolls, have elephants stand on him, and even let a killer bee sting him. He was a tough old customer, but he finally met his match in the north. The circus was in Fang as one of the attractions during the festivities surrounding the Trial of Champions, and my father decided on a whim to enter. He walked into Death Trap Dungeon and, alas, was never seen again. He was really too old for such an ordeal, although there was no telling him that, but at least he tried. Just as Mungo is about to tell you his next tale, he jumps up and shouts, "Land ahoy!" at the top of his voice, as though he were yelling the news to the crew of a galleon. You look to where he is pointing and see Fire Island in the distance. The island sits on the sea like a green cushion, with a jagged mountain protruding from it. Smoke gently curls up from its top, volcanoes fuming anger waiting to explode. Mungo steers the boat towards a small inlet at the eastern tip of the island, hoping that it will remain concealed between the high rocks. You both put on your backpacks and clamber out of the boat to begin your quest to find the Lizard King. If you wish to scramble around the rocks to the beach and the cove to your left, turn to 24. If you wish to clamber over the rocks on the right side of the inlet to the beach and the cove to your right, turn to 33. So now we have a choice between two coves. Okay, so let's see. We have here paragraph 1. And then we go either left or right. So (24) left. Yeah. So there. 33. Right. Okay. So where to begin? I'm going to begin with left, actually. So I'm going to 24. It does not take long to reach the beach, which is small and covered with golden sand. A few rocks jut into the sea, and at the far end of the beach you see a tiny hut made of white stone. The roof has collapsed, and the hut looks deserted. There are some long tracks in the sand, crisscrossing the beach. If you wish to walk across the beach to the hut, turn to 211. If you would rather climb back to the inlet and over to the beach in the other cove, turn to 33. So, we've given the option of going back or checking out the hut. And of course, I'm going to check out the hut. Let's see. He looks a bit crabby. Okay. You are about halfway across the beach when suddenly a large mound of sand by the sea's edge starts to rise into the air. Then you see 6 large spiny legs and a pair of pincers, and as the sand slides off its huge shell, your eyes widen at the daunting sight of the giant crab before you. It scuttles across the sand, picking up Mungo with one of its pincers. Mungo cries out in pain, unable to free himself from the vice-like grip. If you wish to help Mungo, turn to 182. If you'd rather run to the stone hut, turn to 307. Well, I can't just leave him in a pinch, so to speak. So I'm going to help him, of course. So I'm going to go to 182. Help. Oh, it was let's see, 307. Run. Okay, so I'll have to help him. So 182. You run at a giant crab with your sword drawn. It drops Mungo into the sand in order to attack you with both pincers. Giant crab, skill 10, stamina 11. Okay, so if you win, you go to 366. Win. Okay, so first combat. Let's see, make sure I am in shot now, and I've got a skill of 9 and a stamina of 17. The crab's got a skill of 10 and a stamina of 11. This is a combat I could actually lose. So, combat works. I'll just go through that quickly. You take the skill score of your opponent and you add 2 dice. 3 he rolls, so that's 13. That's his attack score. I take my own skill and I roll 2 dice. And add 9, so that's 18. That is my attack score, and whoever has the lower attack score is the one who is injured. If it is equal, it's a draw and nobody gets injured. So now mine was higher and his lower, so he loses 2 points of his stamina score. I like calling it hit points because it just rolls trippingly off the tongue, and that's what it's called in Dungeons and Dragons, I know, but it works for me. And then you go to the next round. You can also use luck in combat to either do more damage or to actually decrease the damage done to yourself, but normally they only use that when you're about to die, because luck is usually more important as a sort of life and death thing in other situations. So only if you're desperate will you use that. So he rolls 12, which means I can't beat that. I roll an 8 and I'm down to 15 stamina. He rolls a 5, I roll a 10, he's down to 7. Let's move the book out so that the auto zoom can go to the right place. He rolls a 7. I think I remember why I didn't let the auto focus stay on, because it's hunting now, isn't it? Can I change that while I'm recording, I wonder? I can actually. So let's see, this is about there, isn't it? Okay. How does that look? Just checking my focus now. Okay, that's better for there. So if I do like... Okay, that's a nice compromise, I think. Okay, so... right, I lost my track of what I was doing now. I'm just going to start over on that roll, whatever it was, and roll for 11 for the crab. And... hang on, he hit me, didn't he? So I was down to 13, then I rolled 11 for the crab, and I roll 9 for myself. I'm down to 11 hit points. 7 or against 11, so I hit him. He rolls 7, I roll 7, so that's him hitting me. He rolls 7, I roll 11. He's down to 3 hit points. He rolls 4, I roll a 9, he's down to 1 hit point, and he rolls a 10, I roll a 5, I'm down to 7. He rolls a 5, I roll an 8, and he is dead. Okay. And now when I got 7 hit points left, that's not very good. We're going to go to 366. Kneeling down beside the crushed body of Mungo, you gently lift his head in your arms. His eyes open a little and he manages half a smile despite his agony. In a whisper he says, "Well, old friend, it's the end of the road for me. A lot of use I've been. Make sure you get the Lizard King for me, won't you?" Then his eyes close and he slumps down dead. Well, You bury him on the beach near the cliff, marking the grave with his sword skewered into the sand. More determined than ever, you set off on your quest and walk to the stone hut. Turn to 198. So, okay, I suppose the adventure was meant to be a solo adventure and not one where you have a companion. Although that's sort of almost... It seems a little bit contrived to kill him off that quickly and easily, though. But there you go. Right. Maybe I should eat something as well, just to... Even though, I mean, there might be a chance of getting more stamina points back, but I will... if I eat 2 rations, my stamina will be back up to 15. Because you usually don't get more than 1 or 2 points of stamina at a go if you find something else. But I'll do that. So 198 to go to the hut now. The abandoned hut is littered with broken furniture, smashed pottery, and a few bits of torn clothing. You kick away a dirty rug and see the handle of a trapdoor in the floorboards. If you wish to lift the trapdoor, turn to 267. If you would rather leave the hut, turn to 152. Okay, so we have 267 trapdoor or 152 leave. Of course, I'm going to check out the trapdoor. You pull on the handle and lift up the trapdoor. In a small compartment you see a wooden box which you lift out and place on the floor. The lid is covered with candle wax. If you wish to open the box, turn to 354. If you would rather leave, turn to 152. I'm not going to stop now. I'm going to open the box. The lid lifts up easily, and inside you find a corked earthenware jug and a note which reads, "Many years ago I came to Fire Island for peace and solitude. But since the Lizardmen have dwelt here, such an existence is no longer possible. I have now returned to the mainland. Many of the plants and bushes here are poisonous. A scratch can kill you. Drink my potion from this jug and you will come to no harm. I wish you well for whatever reason you are here. Farewell, Baskin." If you wish to drink the liquid in the jug, turn to 238. If you would rather leave the hut immediately, turn to 152. So, obviously, I am going to drink it. So, 238. Drink. The liquid tastes of aniseed and is milky in colour. Well, that sounds like some cough mixture I've tried. Well, hang on, it's Gaviscon, isn't it? So basically he left a bottle of Gaviscon. That should work. You gulp it down but feel no effects and can only presume that it will protect you on the journey ahead. You put down the jug and leave the hut. Turn to 152. So, okay. Because I remember that I've drunk that. So 152. Oh, there we are, yes. Behind the hut you see a narrow goat track leading up the side of the cliff. You wend your way up it and are quite exhausted by the time you reach the top. Just a linguistic note there. I don't know if you're interested in this, but I think it's quite interesting. Wend, of course, is an old verb meaning to go. And this is why, and it's kind of bizarre really when you think about it, but the past tense of go is went, which used to be the past tense of wend. I'm not sure what the past tense of go would have been. Goed? I don't know, it sounds weird anyway. Which is probably why the past tense of wend actually turned out to sort of be adopted by the verb go at some point. So wend means just to go, or used to, an archaic word. But now, of course, the only time you would see it in English, unless you're reading something really old, is like Chaucer or something, is in the expression to wend your way. So if you ever wondered why go had such a weird past tense as went, it's because it actually got stolen from another verb at some point, which is quite bizarre in itself, but there you go. So you wend your way up it and are quite exhausted by the time you reach the top. You take a swig of water from your flask and realise that water shortage could be a problem for you on this island. Looking west, you see the daunting sight of the sleeping volcano standing above the trees, but no sign of life. Although you can certainly hear it, a cacophony of bird and insect noise. Okay, so this book is the one in which Ian Livingstone discovers the semicolon and uses it way too much. Oh well, he didn't use it in the earlier books. This is the first one, I think, and he's using it in the wrong way. Yeah, well. With the light quickly fading, you decide to camp for the night behind some rocks. You do not sleep very well and are awake at first light, eager to set off. You decide to head directly west into the trees. Turn to 391. So I'm not going to say how a semicolon is supposed to be used now. That's for a different video. But it sounds like maybe you'd need to make a video about that until people get it. The bottom line is you don't ever need to use one, really. But sometimes it's very useful, and but there are rules and they should be followed. Right, 391. The undergrowth between the trees is dense. Plants with long or broad leaves, some with spiny tips, vines, creepers, fungi, roots and flowers of all sizes, shapes and colours fighting for light and space in the humid jungle thicket. Again, the wrong use of semicolon there. You have to use your sword to cut your way through it. And it is a long and slow business. If you wish to sit down and rest at the base of a great tree, turn to 53. If you would rather continue hacking your way west, turn to 81. Now, sitting at the base of a tree can cause all sorts of things to show up. I mean, there could be a snake slithering down from the tree or something else coming down from the tree, or some predator finding you, I suppose. Could something positive come out of sitting and relaxing at the base of a tree, I wonder? Let's see. 53, rest, or 81. I'll just put west there, west. I'm going to sit and rest, actually, see what happens. Whatever it is, it might be exciting. A sweet smell floats down from the upper foliage of the tree, which makes you feel relaxed and drowsy. As your eyelids droop, you do not see a thick vine lower itself down from the branches above. It silently wraps itself around your neck and starts to squeeze. You awaken, choking, and try to grasp your sword, which is lying by your feet. Test your luck. So, testing luck, I'm rolling against 10. I need to roll 10 or less. I roll 9. And every time luck is tested, luck goes down by 1, so it's harder to be lucky next time. Which is why it should be used sparingly. So we have test luck. I suppose if you're unlucky there, that might be the end of the adventure. So unlucky 132. Unlucky. Oh, 256 is lucky. Okay. So 256. You stretch out and your fingertip just managed to tips just manage to reach your sword. By now you cannot breathe and your face is crimson. How would you know if you don't have a mirror to see it by? Just saying. With the veins bulging in your neck, well, you could feel that, I suppose. You desperately hack at the vine until you cut through it and roll away out of its lethal range. You cough and rub your neck and watch the hideous vine drip purple sap. Although you are lucky to have escaped the clutches of the carnivorous tree, you have not escaped injury. Lose 1 skill point and 2 stamina points. So skill is now 8, stamina is 13. Although still weary, you decide that it's better to keep on the move. Turn to 81. So it looks like sitting down by the tree there is not a good idea, which of course I did suspect, but you know me, I just have to... I'm a bit curious as well, and I know that's what killed the cat, so... As you push your way slowly through the undergrowth, the hairs on your back and your neck start to prickle, and you feel that you are being watched. You stand back, sword ready, watching the leaves for any sign of movement. And then 3 dark-skinned men step into view, each wearing only a crude loincloth. They are armed with stone clubs and long spears. But you are more alarmed to see that each wears a belt of shrunken human heads. The headhunters start to argue about who should kill you and earn the right to wear your head on his belt. Well, I suppose you have to kill me first. Finally, one steps forward to fight them one at a time. Right, so... I have skill 8, stamina 13, and I am fighting first of all a 6, 6, a 7, 6, and a 6, 7. That doesn't sound like very good odds to me, but okay, I'll just leave the book there while I roll this out. Okay, so got a 2 skill point advantage on the first one. That's what I usually do when I'm in combat, because it's faster to calculate it in your head when you think about it that way. So he rolls a 7, which means I need to roll, if I roll a 5, it's a draw, and if I roll higher, then I injure him. So it's a 10, so he's down to 4 hit points. He rolls a 9, I roll 10, he's down to 2. He rolls a 4, I roll a 9, so he is dead. Second one, I got a 1 point advantage, so he rolls an 8, I roll 7, so that's a draw. He rolls 7, I roll 4, so I'm down to 11 hit points. He rolls a 10, I roll an 11, he's down to 4 hit points. He rolls a 10, I roll a 2. And there's no such thing as critical hit here, luckily. He rolls a 5, I roll a 7, he's down to 2 hit points. He rolls a 7, I roll a 2, I am down to 7 hit points. He rolls a 5, I roll 8, and he is also dead. Last one, we got the same stamina, but I've got a 2 point skill advantage, so that should, fingers crossed, be fine. He rolls a 4, I roll a 2. Yeah, okay, so that's a draw. He rolls a 10, I roll 3, so I'm down to 5 hit points. He rolls an 8, I roll a 6, that's a draw again. He rolls a 7, I roll 6, that is me hitting him. He rolls 6, I roll 10, he's down to 3 hit points. He rolls 10, I roll 9, that's me hitting him again. And finally, maybe, he rolls 11, maybe not finally. I roll 8, I'm down to 3 hit points. He rolls 3, I roll 2, so that's me hitting him and killing him with a completely clumsy round by both of us. And I've got 3 hit points left, and yeah, I'll just do the winning paragraph first before I do any provisions now. I don't think I'm going to make it now because my stamina is not with me. I'm going to finish all my rations very quickly now, and I'm not going to make it. But let's see. So winning is 177 win. Okay. The headhunters have no items of equipment on them, but have a hide bag containing bananas and coconuts. You save your own provisions and eat the headhunters' food at 1 stamina point. I don't see how that's saving a... I should have got more than... Hang on, I've got... how much do I have left now? 3. So I've got 4. Okay, so I've got 4 stamina. You wonder if their village is nearby and decide to climb a tree to get a better view. From the top you see smoke rising not far away in the southwest, perhaps from a village. Directly west you see the trees gradually thin out, and away in the far northwest you see the daunting shape of the volcano. You climb down from the tree and plan which way to head. If you wish to keep going west, turn to 229. If If you wish to go northwest in order to circumvent the smoke, turn to 12. So we have so 229, 229 west or 12 northwest and W. Before I go anywhere, I'm going to eat some more. And let's see, I need I'm going to eat myself up to eat 3 rations. It's going to take a while, I suppose, but I'm going to eat 3 rations and I'm going back up to 16 stamina. Right, now there was supposed to be a village in the west, but I'm still curious to see what it's like, so I'm going to go there anyway. As you hack your way through the thick undergrowth, you hear the distant sound of drums coming from where you saw the smoke rising. If you wish to head southwest towards it, turn to 337. If you prefer to keep heading west, turn to 113. So, I'm going to do like that, to make myself some space on my map. So west is 113 or 337 southwest. I'm going to check out the southwest direction. The beating of the drums grows louder as you scramble through the undergrowth towards them. You also hear chanting voices and deep humming. Yeah. You crawl forward as quietly as you can until you reach the edge of a small clearing. There are several bamboo huts in a circle around the edge of the clearing. In the center of the clearing, the word clearing is used a little bit too much there, I think. You see 12 headhunters standing around a half-naked man tied to a post. One of the headhunters, who is wearing a face mask and headdress, steps forwards, his arms raised in the air. The drums instantly stop beating. Then a woman hands him a bone knife. The headhunters are about to gain a new trophy. There are too many of them for you to fight at once, and you feel helpless. There's only one plan you can think of to distract the headhunters, but it is dangerous. If you wish to take a burning branch from the fire in front of you and set some of the huts on fire, turn to 171. You'd rather slip back into the jungle and continue west, turn to 113. So, looks like that. Or yeah, I'm just doing that there. So 171 fire. I'm going to try the fire, of course, because it'll just be interesting to see if that works. You crawl towards the fire, hoping that the headhunters will be too engrossed in their ritual to notice you. Test your luck. My luck is 9. I roll 8, so that's fine. My luck is reduced to 8. Let's see, test luck. And then so we are, let's see, 302 unlucky or 215 lucky. So 215 it is. Grabbing one of the burning brushes, you dash behind one of the huts and set it alight. Then you run to the next hut and set it on fire as well. The huts are soon blazing away, and you watch from behind the next hut as the headhunters run around the clearing, shouting instructions to each other in total confusion. The man tied to the post is temporarily left unguarded, and you run to him and set him free. With one swipe of your sword, you cut through the vines holding him to the post and run off towards the jungle, yelling at the man to follow. As you are running, one of the headhunters sees you and throws a spear at you. Roll 1 die. The number rolled is 1 or 2, etc., etc. So we have 1d6, roll 1 die. And we have 3 options. So it's 76 or 250 or 323. And that is 1 to 2, 3 to 4, 5 to 6. Okay, so 1 die. And let's see what happens. Oh, well, I don't know if that's good or bad. It's one or the other, usually. The spear flies through the air, striking you in the shoulder and sending you crashing to the ground. Lose 3 stamina points. I think that was bad. If you are still alive, you see the man that you rescued come to your side and pull the spear from your shoulder. It picks you up and helps you run for cover inside one of the huts, as the other headhunters turn to attack you. Inside the hut, the rescued man arms himself with a spear and a stone-headed club. His gratitude shows in a smile, and suddenly he runs out of the hut, screaming at the top of his voice. You watch as he charges into a group of advancing headhunters, stabbing and hacking at them in a mad frenzy. Before he finally succumbs to their blows, he manages to slay 3 of them. You stagger out of the hut to fight the remaining headhunters, but only one, the chief, steps forward to fight. The others turn and flee. Okay. So we have Chief Headhunter, skill stamina 8 and 8. So I'm at 8-13. He is 8-8. So on paper, I'm still got a little bit of an advantage there, although it's not as big as I would like it to be. And let's see. So we have so -3 stamina and 8/8. And winning was going to 66. So we have 66. Okay. Right. So he rolls 6, I roll 7. So that is me getting first blood. That's good. He rolls 4, I roll 11. He's down to 4 hit points. He rolls 8, I roll 3. I'm down to 11. He rolls 6, I roll 7. And he rolls 5, I roll 12. And that's a good way to finish, with a nice proper coup de grace death blow if you win 10 to 66. Okay. You pick up the chief's spear and run back into the jungle the way you came. Okay, so I've got a spear, I suppose. You're soon well away from the village and slow down to a walk. Once again, you're alone on your quest. Turn to 113. So get a spear. And I'm going down to 113. And I'm down to 13 stamina. Should I consider eating? Yes, I think I'll eat actually, because I just want to be on the safe side now. I got my skill is so low. Oh. Right, so 113. Excuse me. Right, back in the room. Okay. Slowly you hack your way through the dense jungle, not really certain of the direction in which you are heading. Later you catch a brief glimpse of the sun through the trees, enough to orientate yourself and turn to head west. Turn to 7. Okay. So I'm going to 7. Pressing on further west, you notice that the ground is becoming wetter and softer. Soon you are ankle deep in water. The trees thin out and you find yourself wading through thick black mire. The marshland stretches out in front of you as far as you can see. And you were worried about water. There's water everywhere now. Suddenly you hear the sound of squelching behind you and are surprised to see a strange creature run past you. It is small with green reptilian scales. Its arms are long and hang down to the ground, and it moves rapidly over the marsh on its webbed feet. It pays you no attention. If you wish to call out to the creature, turn to 317. If you prefer to keep trudging west, turn to 158. Right, so let's see, 317 call, or 158 west. I'll call out to it. I won't Not what I usually do with lizards passing by, but... Oh, it's Gollum. Well, something Gollum-like, anyway. The creature halts suddenly and looks over its shoulder to stare at you in bewilderment. Its wide mouth opens, and a pink-forked tongue darts out and recoils just as quickly. Its big eyes look full of sorrow, but then you realize that the creature is a cunning marsh hopper. Despite their pathetic appearance, marsh hoppers will often lead unwary victims into the lairs of carnivorous marsh beasts for the price of a few scraps of meat. However, no creature knows how to cross treacherous marshlands better than a marsh hopper. The marsh hopper beckons you with its head to follow it across the marsh. If you wish to follow it, turn to 58. If you wish to continue west alone, turn to 158. Will I take my chances? Nice drawing, by the way. Oh, there's a little bat there as well. That looks almost exactly like Gollum, doesn't it? Apart from the forked tongue, of course. Right, so 158 or following it. Now, there are two possibilities here. If you go out alone, you might get stuck in the marsh and die. If you follow the marsh hopper, he might lead you to a beast and you might die. But then again, it didn't seem like he was expecting to have anything to do with me. I mean, he was just passing by. It didn't seem like he was trying to lure me to go anywhere. So I think maybe I'll trust him to know where to go in this case. I'm going to try to follow the marsh hopper. Sinking knee-deep in the slimy marsh, you struggle to keep up with the agile marsh hopper. Suddenly it turns south and once again beckons you to follow it. Now I'm a little bit more unsure if I should follow it now. Now it might have ulterior motives. So, I'll just move up here to have a little bit more space on my map now. So I'm going to do like this. So follow. So 2, 3, 5, follow again, or head west, 37. So I'm going to head west on my own. I'm not going to follow the marsh hopper anymore. Although you are expecting some terrible beast to rise out of the water, everything remains calm. Gradually the ground becomes firmer underfoot, and soon you are out of the water and walking through thick mud. Keeping a watchful eye on the terrain and sky, you are unaware of the disgusting soft bodies clinging to your legs. It is only when you notice some discomfort that you look down to see the giant leeches wrapped around your calves. Of course, leeches, you can't feel they're there because they have a sort of local anesthetic. But yeah. Roll 1 die and add 1 to the number rolled. Okay, so 4. So we have... so that's rolled 1d6. Plus 1. So this is the number of giant leeches clinging to you. Lose 1 stamina point for each and a portion of your provision. Oh. You need salt to get them off your leg. Okay, I see. Okay. So I'm losing a provision, and I'm also losing 5 stamina points. I'm down to 12. So if you're still alive, go to 280. 280. After checking yourself carefully to make sure you are finally rid of the parasites from the marsh, you continue west across the muddy plain. Ahead you see 2 hills and you decide to walk towards the gorge dividing them. Turn to 362. Okay. 362. The ground rises and you are at last away from the difficult terrain. The jungle and marsh are behind you. Grass and flowers make the island appear lush and beautiful, but you know you cannot afford to relax. It is not long before you reach the gorge and see that it runs between several hills in a westerly direction. If you wish to walk down the gorge, turn to 40. If you'd rather climb the hill to your right, turn to 194. So we've got gorge 40, or hill, 194. I'm going to go to the hill. Yes, I'm going to go to the hill. You walk along the side of the hill following the route of the gorge. Looking over to the hill on the far side of the gorge, you suddenly see a landslide start, sending rocks and boulders crashing into the gorge. Oh, lucky for me, I wasn't there. Although you are not enjoying the tiring climb, you are relieved that you were not in the gorge. Add 1 luck point. Oh, that's the first time I've got something good out of this. Okay, 9. If you still wish to walk along the side of the hill above the gorge, turn to 83. If you now wish to risk walking down the gorge, turn to 382. Okay, so let's see, luck +1. I'm going to walk down into the gorge now, I think. So 83 hill or 382 gorge. Might be a double bluff, of course. Even something even worse happens now. On the large boulder to your right you see some words which seem to have been carved out of the stone. If you want to walk up to the boulder and read the words, turn to 35. If you'd rather continue your trek down the gorge, turn to 119. So it's 119, continue, or 35 words. Of course I'm going to check out the words. The words form a stark warning which reads, turn back or die. But you cannot tell whether the warning is for those entering the gorge or for those leaving it, as the boulder faces both ways equally. However, not wishing to take chances, you grip your sword and walk stealthily down the gorge. Shouldn't I be given the choice of going back up to the hills again? That would make more sense, wouldn't it? Okay. Because now I was given information, I was not given a new choice. So that's a bit silly, but oh well. In the fine sand on the ground you notice traces of old footprints leading out of the gorge. They end abruptly in front of you and there are signs of a struggle. 2 pairs of footprints lead back down the gorge, with 2 straight lines behind them as though the owners have dragged a body behind them. As you follow the trail of the footprints, you catch sight of a shiny object in the sand. You prod it with your foot and see an oval snuff box made of brass. Picking it up, you see that it has a hinged lid. If you wish to open the snuff box, turn to 41. If you would rather throw it back into the dust and continue to follow the footprints, turn to 325. Okay, so I'm going to open it, of course. 41 snuff box. Or 325 footprints. I'll open it and see what happens. Inside the snuff box you find a small gold nugget and a piece of paper with a message scrawled in charcoal which reads, "If you read this, it will mean that I have failed in my attempt to escape from the slave mines of the Lizard King. My raft is hidden beyond the gorge where the plain meets the river. If you are here to help us, please follow the river upstream until you see the mud huts. The slave mines are nearby, but beware the Lizardman guards." Well, stating the bleeding obvious there, I think. You fold out the piece of paper, put it in your pocket together with the gold nuggets and continue to follow the footprints. So we now have a gold nugget, which might be useful for a bribe or something. So then it's 325. Okay. Well, yes, 325. The ground underfoot becomes rockier and the footprint trail you have been following disappears. In the distance you hear a faint rumbling. Could it be the yawning of an awakening volcano? You hurry on down the gorge but are stopped in your tracks by the sight of a huge reptile blocking your path. You stare incredulously at the armored beast which appears some 6 meters in length. It is a giant lizard and it sees you as a source of food. You must fight it. So, okay. So I've got 8, 12, and the lizard's got 8, 9. So same skill. I've got a little bit of an edge on the stamina, so let's see if that's enough. So he rolls 4, I roll 6. He's down to 7. He rolls 7, I roll 10. He's down to 5. He rolls 5, I roll 9. He's down to 3. He rolls 5, I roll 8. He's down to 1 hit point. And finally, he rolls 7 and I roll 7, which is a draw. He rolls 12. I roll 10. I am injured for 2 points. He rolls 5 and I roll 5. It's a draw. He rolls 2 and I roll 7, and he is dead. Good. And I'm down to 10 stamina. Yes, so I'll just do the winning paragraph before I do anything else. Let's go over that way now. So 1, 9, 6. Win. You step around the huge body of the giant lizard and press on down the gorge. At last the gorge widens out to become a grassy plain, and the hills are soon behind you. Not far away, some 10 meters to your left, you see a pond where many birds are drinking. If you want to drink at the pond, turn to 128. If you would rather continue west, turn to 222. So, so 128 drink, or 222 west. I'll drink at the pond. What's the worst that could happen? The water in the pool looks cool and refreshing, although you are a little perturbed at the layer of green algae which floats on the surface. Excuse me. As you bend down to drink, a jet of liquid shoots out of the pond towards you from a wide green mouth which suddenly appears in the water. That's this picture here. Roll 2 dice if the number rolled is the same as, so that is test skill. So I'm rolling against my skill, which is 8. I rolled 10, so that is a failed test of skill. So fail, success. So that's 351 or 248. So I failed my skill test, and see what happens now. The liquid hits your face and your eyes start to sting. You have been temporarily blinded by the sticky acid of a spit toad. You realize what is happening and draw your sword. You know that spit toad will try to leap on you and kill you with its spiked teeth. You cut your sword blindly through the air and step back from the pond, rubbing your eyes with your free hand. Although you cannot see it, the spit toad suddenly leaps at you. Test your luck. Test luck. So my luck is 9, rolling against 9, and I roll 11. Oh, that's not good, is it? Right, so let's see, lucky 339, lucky, or 73, unlucky. Although you try to stab the spit toad as it leaps at you, your blade fails to find its mark. Terrified, you are knocked... Did I reduce? I need to reduce my skill to 8. Terrified, you are knocked to the ground by the huge amphibian. Its spiked teeth sink into one of your arms. Test your luck, again. So test nested luck tests. That can be quite nasty. Okay. So I'm rolling against 8 this time, and I roll 11 again. So another failed luck test there. So I'm going to do that over here. 217 lucky, or 396 unlucky. Okay, so I'm unlucky again, and my luck is down to 7. So I'm literally down on my luck now. And I go to 396. The spit toad's teeth sink painfully into your sword arm, lose 2 stamina points and 2 skill points. Okay, stamina -2, skill -2. 2, and then you grab your sword with your other hand and manage to force open the spit toad's mouth with it. You roll out from under its massive belly and stand up to lunge at it blindly. During each attack round, you must reduce your attack strength by 3 because of your blindness. Okay, so 5, 6. So it has a 5. The thing now, of course, I'm down to 6 skill. I'm down to 8 stamina. So I've got a 6 skill, but I also have to reduce it by 3 because I'm blind. So my effective fighting skill now is 3, and my stamina is 8, and I'm fighting something with 5 skill and 6 stamina. So for the first time I can say I'm clearly not in an advantage here, am I? Okay, so he's got 2 points better than me on skill, so I'm down. So he rolls 8, I roll 4, I'm down to 6 hit points. He rolls 7, I roll 10, so that's me hitting him. He rolls 3, I roll 2, and I'm down to 4 hit points. He rolls 4, I roll 10, he's down to 2 hit points. He rolls 6, I roll 10, and he is dead. Okay, so 134 win. Okay, that's a good victory there, because I was definitely not short in any way whatsoever. Gradually your vision returns and you sheathe your sword. If you still wish to drink at the pool, turn to 92. If you wish to head off west again, turn to 222. So 222, that's the one over there, isn't it? Yeah, and drink is 92. After all this effort, surely it must be worth my while to drink. It must give me something. The water is refreshing to drink. Add 1 stamina point. While drinking, you notice a wooden casket lying on the bottom of the pool. If you wish to wade into the pool to reach the casket, turn to 259. If you'd rather head off west again, turn to 222. Okay, so we have 259, casket, plus 1 stamina there. So my stamina is now 9. I've got 3 rations left. I'll eat 2 of them, so I've got 1, so I've got up to 17, back to 17. And I'm going to check out the casket. Knowing that spit toads never share their watery domain with others, you wade confidently into the pool and pick up the casket. Back on dry land, you prise the lid off with your sword and tip the contents onto the grass. They are a glass phial containing a coloured liquid, a velvet pouch, a pair of red leather boots, and a gold ring. Will you? Okay, so we've got 4 options now. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we have 311 drink, 26 pouch, 94 boots, or 297 ring. I'm going to start by drinking because, yeah, because you have swallowed a potion of clumsiness. At the beginning of any future combat, there is a possibility that you might drop your sword as you unsheath it. Before you start the first attack round, roll 1 die. If you roll 1, you will drop your sword and automatically lose the first attack round. Okay. That's an unusual one. Okay, clumsy. So, clumsy. Open the pouch. That's next. At least it didn't give me a reduction of skill. It's been quite disastrous. Where are we now? You open the pouch and look inside but cannot see anything. It is totally black inside. You decide to drop a stone into the bag to see what happens. The stone disappears from view and the pouch does not become any heavier. You have found a pouch of unlimited contents. Add 1 luck point. Luck is back to 8. Let's see, luck Oops. Lock +1. The pouch will enable you to carry large and heavy objects simply by placing them inside. These objects are actually transported to another dimension and will weigh nothing inside the pouch, but can be retrieved at any time. Okay, so potion, no, pouch of unlimited contents. So try on the boots next, I suppose. I might as well do the whole set now. The boots fit you perfectly, fit your feet perfectly. You run around in a circle, but nothing good or untoward happens, so I decide to leave them on. Okay, so boots. Put the ring on my finger. I suppose that's the last thing to do now, and I may as well. So we've got so they all sort of, yeah, just go together like that. The instant you put the ring on your finger, you feel very dizzy. Okay, so the ring is not a good idea. You will try to pull the ring off, but it will not move. The ring is cursed with a confusion spell. Lose 2 skill points. So I'm down to 4 skill now. Right. So I've done all those things. Of course, all these also lead you back to 222. Okay. The boots, we don't know what happened with the boots. Maybe nothing interesting happens, but... Right. That wasn't very nice, was it? I mean, skill is now 4, and I'm clumsy. At least I'm alive. To your left, you see movement. A small creature is running across the plain. As it approaches, you see that it is a small pig. The thought of a roast suckling pig makes your mouth water. If you have a spear, turn to 342. I do have a spear. Spear? Question mark. Yes. No. 167 or 342. The pig is running very swiftly and you have to throw fast. Test your luck. Test luck. My luck is 8 and I roll 7, so I am being lucky. Okay. 115, lucky, unlucky 219. The spear skewers the pig and brings it to an abrupt halt. You gather some wood and build a fire, eager to roast the pig. When it's finally cooked, you sit down on the ground to enjoy a much needed feast. Add 3 stamina points, although I suppose that's a bit pointless because I'd already eaten and I can't get any more, but for future reference, I suppose. Stamina +3 and go west 170, and I think there's so much going on here now. Just to be sure that I've got space on my map for future runs, I'm going to start a new page and go 170 there. Okay, and that is 115 is where I came from. Okay. Let's put FF07 in the corner, so remember if I sort of mess them up one day. Right. 170. In the distance you see rising ground, and beyond in the northwest the ever-daunting shape of a sleeping volcano. It is not long before you reach the bushy bank of a river running slowly southeast. On the far side the ground is quite steep and tree-covered. If you have read the message in the snuff box, turn to 288. If you have not read this message, turn to 88. Well, I have read the message in the snuff box, so And Snuff box. Okay. So we have nope, and that is 88 or yes, 288. So I'm going to 288. Start a search amongst the bushes for the hidden raft, and before long you find it. You drag it into the river and climb aboard. The river is not deep, and you are able to push the raft upriver against the light current quite easily with the long pole you have. Turn to 387. 387. You have not gone far before you realize that you are not safe even aboard your raft. You see a pair of eyes protruding from the water ahead of you, and suddenly a huge jaw lined with sharp teeth gapes open. With great force, the crocodile slams into your raft, almost knocking you off it. The crocodile thrashes round in the water, its jaws opening and snapping shut in its desperation to bite you. If you have an iron bar, turn to 9. Iron bar, question mark. 9, yes, or 204, no. I don't have an iron bar, so I'm going to 204. That's the first time I found an item, or found a reference to an item I haven't found yet, so that's going quite far actually. I don't know how. The thing is, when I'm looking at this map now, I'm thinking a lot of this is probably quite linear, and there's some splits of some other things you could have done here, but it would have brought you to the same path, I think. But I'll see about that next time I'm playing, which might be soon at this rate, because my skill is now 4. My stamina is 17. And I'm fighting a crocodile whose skill is 6 and stamina is 7. Standing precariously on the rocking raft, you draw your sword to attack the vicious crocodile, it says. And if you win, turn to 31. So let's see, so that's a 6, 7, and win 31. Okay. So he's got a 2 skill advantage, so I need to roll 2 better than he all the time. So he rolls 9, I roll 7, so I'm down to 15. He rolls 6. Let's see, how are we in shot now? That's about the middle, yeah. He rolls 6, I roll 5, I'm down to 13. I'll just put a bookmark there. He rolls 11. I roll 6, I'm down to 11 hit points. He rolls 8, I roll 9, that's still him hitting me. He rolls 3, finally my chance, I roll a 10 and he's down to 5. He rolls 9, I roll 2, and I think he rolls 8, I roll 4, I'm down to 5. He rolls 3, now's my chance again, I roll 10. Maybe I should use a lock point and see if I can do extra damage to him now. So I'm going to test my lock and try to do 2 extra damage. I need to roll better than 7. Yes. So he's down to 1 hit point. He rolls 7. I roll 5. I'm down to 3. He rolls 11. I roll 2. I'm down to 1. Sudden death again. Okay. So he rolls 5. I need to roll 7 or better. 8 or better, really. 8. Yes. I did it. Okay. Good thing I used the lock point. Okay, so I won. I've got and I think it's time to use my potion of stamina now to get my stamina back up to 17. And there we are. Okay. $31. It's always more fun when you almost die all the time. which is why having a low ability is sometimes a good thing, actually. See, I'm leaning a bit forward now. Should I move my focus a bit, like so? Yeah, okay. You pick up your pole and push your raft away from the floating carcass of the crocodile. Unless you possess a pouch of unlimited contents into which you put them, your spear and your axe, if you have either of these, will have rolled off the raft during the battle with the crocodile. So, I do have my axe. Well, I don't have an axe. Anyway, my spear is safe because I got a pouch of unlimited contents. So 390. Let's do this up here. 390. On the right bank of the river, you see a man dressed in tattered clothing. He is waving his arms around frantically and calling out to you. He looks as if he could be an escaped prisoner. If you wish to steer your raft over to the man, turn to 87. If you'd rather keep pushing upriver, turn to 14. So we've got 87, man, or 14, river. I don't know. It could help me. It could be he's just trying to steal my rafts. I'll go over and see what he's up to there. Okay. Yeah, okay, that wasn't a good idea at all. As soon as you are close enough, the man leaps onto your raft. His eyes look wild and he is sweating profusely. He is delirious with fever and it is impossible to communicate with him. Suddenly he pulls a dagger from his clothing and tries to stab you. Shouldn't you have already stabbed him before he gets to that point? You do not have time to draw your sword and are forced to fight him with your bare hands. During each attack round you must reduce your attack strength by 3 because you are fighting empty-handed. As soon as you win your second attack round, if that's ever going to happen. Okay, this is not going particularly well. Right, so I've got a skill of 4, but I'm losing 3, so for practical purposes now my skill is 1. My stamina might be 17, but I'm fighting somebody who is got a skill of 6 and stamina of 5. He's got a 5-point advantage on his distance skill now, and I need to win 2 attack rounds to get any further, which probably means, of course, when I get to yeah. Cool. Also, I remember that I forgot to roll for my clumsiness when I fought the crocodile, but never mind. That's past now. So, okay, so he's got a 5-point advantage. He rolls 6. I roll 10, which isn't good enough, so I'm down to 15. He rolls 7. I roll 6. I'm down to 13. He rolls 7, I roll 5, I'm down to 11. He rolls 6, I roll 7, I'm down to 9. He rolls 10, I roll 10, I'm down to 7. He rolls 3, now's my chance. I roll 10, so I hit him for the first time. I did hit him once more. He rolls 10, I roll 10, so I'm down to 5, sorry. He rolls 8, I roll 5, I'm down to 3 hit points. He rolls 9, I roll 8, I'm down to 1 hit point. He rolls 7, I roll 5, and I am dead. Oh well, so my skill went down from 9 to 4. And even then I managed to get quite far, I think. I mean, I'm sort of feeling like I've been living on borrowed time now for quite some time. Anyway, that was quite an interesting... I think that was actually quite fun because I lost so much stamina so many times. I used all my rations pretty much and my skill was reduced. And still sort of managed to sort of hang on by the skin of my teeth a few times there. Okay, so that's the Island of the Lizard King for now. I suppose I will have to yeah, see how it goes next time. Surely it can't go as bad as that, but At least I know quite a few things now that I'm not supposed to do, and things that will get me into trouble or make me lose skill, etc. So it won't be so bad, I hope. Right. So anyway, thanks for watching. This was the first episode of the Island of the Lizard King, and I don't know. I think it seems alright so far. But then again, I don't know how it will be when I play it again now, and just because at the moment it's, I don't know. It does seem quite linear at the moment from quite far back. So, but we'll see. That might not necessarily be a bad thing, but I don't know, it could be. I like the illustrations, are really nice, and it's yeah, it's a bit different. So no Lizardman yet either. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time with my second episode of Island of the Lizard King. So goodbye for now. Bye bye.